Alright, completing lesson plans for our classroom is a very important part of our job. The material we depend on actually to complete these lesson plans are just as important. Preschool First website gives us input to our lesson plans as well as theme activities. The 10 Ls for the standards, and also for the 10 Ls for the standards. By the end of your lesson plan session, you're often feeling frustrated because sometimes you just kind of you begin to question whether you're planning the right lesson plans and whether you begin to wonder whether the children in your class are going to get frustrated or even learn what you're actually teaching them. You have to have proper preparation is the key to the success in any of the early childhood classrooms. If you don't have the proper planning, then your kids are going to actually become very frustrated, running around the room and act kind of crazy. After covering some of the basic information of the 10 Ls, I'm also going to go over how all areas of the 10 L works, and then I will demonstrate how to properly plan one day of your lesson plans. So the Tennessee Department of Education has a website that actually is dedicated to the 10 Ls. It's in early childhood education, and each section is listed, provides the developmental aspects, such as aspects each child should be working on in your classroom. The area listed in the Tennessee Governor Department of Education Developmental Standards we will be discussing are as follows. Speech and language development, and you guys probably saw that on the video too, it's kind of the same thing. Early literacy, math and science, social studies, creative arts, social and emotional development, and physical development. 10 Ls is the Tennessee Early Childhood Education Early Learning. Developmental standards were developed to provide documentation of the continuum of developmental milestones from birth through age 5 based on the research about the process, sequence, and long-term consequences of early learning and development. The Tennessee Early Learning Standards now has an e-portal learning to ensure that all training is being actually completed. So it's the 10 Ls training that you see does. And certificates are issued after each level of completion, and then paid training will also be offered. So after you turn in your certificate to the Sandy, she'll be able to pay you for the training hours. And each age group is actually listed on the website, and then there will also be additional videos, so that they won't be as long as that one up there. Okay. And when I think of the 10 Ls, I actually think of it as my own model to do the standards. I actually refer back to it when I'm doing my lesson plan, so I know that I'm covering each area in the lesson plans. Okay, so now that we have a better understanding of what 10 Ls is, we want to look at how the areas of the 10 L work. So, as stated prior in the speech, 10 Ls are broken into sections, and each section is actually broken into developmental areas that we should be working into the lesson plan. So let's review what those were again. You got early literacy, math and science, social studies, creative arts, social emotional development, and physical development. So our first one, and I hope you guys can read this, is speech and language development. It addresses the repetitive, which is your understood, your expressive spoken language development of the young child. It also addresses speech and the quality of language. So the language development standards are actually a companion to the early literacy standards. Okay. Your early literacy actually addresses the cognitive development through the content area of your early literacy and overlaps into your language development section. So as we progress, you'll see that some of them actually overlap. So you might do one lesson plan that actually covers 3 or 4 different areas in this. Your math and science addresses your math and science standards. So these 2 content areas are grouped together as there is an overlap of the knowledge of skills. Sorry if my PowerPoint kind of did bullets in this. On your social study, it addresses cognitive and social emotional development through the content area of social studies. Your creative arts, and this addresses your social emotional development through the content area of creative arts. This domain and content area are absolutely closely connected to other developmental domains of language, such as your physical development and cognition. Social emotional development. This addresses through documentation of the child's approaches to learning. This includes the child's interaction of the environment with peers and adults. So when you're actually sitting there speaking with a child, you're working on their social skills, how to play, how to actually handle different situations. And your physical development addresses the stages of physical development of young children. It is essential that the children have experiences that stimulate and support physical growth. So, all right. So now that we have a better understanding of how the 10Ls works, let's look at how to do one lesson plan. And that's the more of this All right. The web-based lesson plan that we will be working from is preschoolfirst.com. And if you go on the website, it'll actually tell you a little bit about what Preschool First is. And it's basically a play-based assessment and curriculum resource for the infant and toddler all the way up to the preschool years. So it covers a wide range. There are over 3,200 age-appropriate activities incorporating 500 behaviors children should master to be ready for to go actually into kindergarten. And this basically, like Ms. Sandy said, they're upping the curriculum. So anybody that's going into first is actually at the second grade. By the time you get to high school, it's stuff I've never seen before in my life. So it's really, we've got to get the kids understanding through these lesson plans. Okay, so first off, you've got your first screen there, which is your log-on screen. And this is where you go in and you're going to actually log on to the computer, and all you have to do is press log on, and they've given you your actual password. Okay. The next is you want to pick your class. So you want to actually go on there and pick whatever class you are. And I hope you can see it. If you can't, you can ask to see it again. But you'll have whatever class you are, so you want to go to the top left-hand corner to do that. And then you want to go into your theme activities. And on the screen, I'll have all your children on there, and you actually want to click on the theme activities. Your theme books are more like books that you can use for your actual seasons or whatever plans you're actually doing. The next one is your activity type, and it's broken into like buddy times, game time, and different concepts. You can also go to spring. They actually have a lot of activities, and you don't have to use your own information. But it's a good thing if you do want to. All right. So next you have what this is buddy time and stuff. I'm going to go through each kind of section. This is an example of one day that I have on my lesson plan. So your buddy time is your activity, and it's, say I'm doing birdseed measuring. And this area will cover the math and science section of my 10Ls. So you want to ensure that you pick a math and science each week. And you can do it each day, or you can break them into, like, I'm going to do one on Monday and the same one on Friday, depending on your age group. Okay. Next thing that's listed on there is game time, which is another activity. In mine, I have shadow tag, which is cognitive, is what I've classified it under. And this area will go over my early literacy and social emotional development. Because basically, I'm going to be playing tag with the children. I'm going to try to find their shadows. So they're going to have to kind of think, where's my shadow, where's it at? Your next area is your creative play, which is another activity. It's a springtime nest, which was mine. And I have this under creative expressions because I'm going to have the children be building something. And if you look on your 10Ls, creative expression can also go into early literacy or cognitive or social emotional, because the children are having to think, they're having to use their hands in all different areas. Okay. Your next is your story time. I picked in the forest, and this will cover my speech and language development, early literacy, my creative expression, and social studies. So it's covering 4 areas in one on my 10Ls, which means the kids are not only going to learn how to listen to a story, we're going to act out parts in the story, we're also going to put stuff together on pieces of paper, so it covers all those aspects of it. And then last, you want to make sure you add additional activities for the remaining sections of your 10Ls, such as you do water play, which is just going into a science activity. You want to do stand and play, which is your cognitive, and your larger motor and science. And then you want to do your music, which is your creative arts. And this is just stuff you work into your normal day, routine play. And even when they come in and assess you for mistakes, they're going to ask you, are you using bubbles? Are you using watercolor? Are you using sand? And if they say no, then you're not actually using all the standards of the 10Ls, and they'll look at their little marks on the sheet. So you want to make sure you refer back to the 10L standards to ensure that all activities you're complying with on the standards that are set in the 10Ls. And we want to look at the, we just look back, sorry. Okay, so the idea is to be creative and think that about each section needs to cover within a week's time frame. The activities may be included in your regular routines, such as what you plan for your activities. Alright, so I have told you some basic information on the 10Ls, how the 10Ls actually works, and how to properly do one day's lesson plan for your classroom. So I hope you have a better understanding of the 10Ls and how to do the lesson plan. Thank you.